Hi, my name's Lauren, and if you've not seen my videos before, I like to talk about all things bookish, so reading wrap-ups, book reviews, reading vlogs, all of that good stuff. And today it is time for my December reading wrap-up. So yeah, the last reading wrap-up for 2024, and it's just crazy. Like, I've only done a few of these. I think my first one was in October, but next year, all being well, will be a full year of reading wrap-ups, my first full year on BookTube. So let's get into it. I actually managed to read 7 books in December, which is far more than I thought I would end up reading, because December is obviously just a very busy month anyway, and it's been crazy with work and stuff, and yeah, all the Christmas festivities. But yeah, I managed 7 books, so I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. I will say that Christmas reading this year has been a little bit disappointing. I like to read festive Christmas books in December. I don't like set myself a strict TBR really, because I'm very much a mood reader, but I have like a few books in mind, and they tend to all be festive themed in December. I also always reread A Christmas Carol in December. I have done for like 14 years now. It's just my little December Christmas tradition. But overall, I've not been enamoured with the Christmas books this year, or like the ones that I have read anyway. I ended up DNFing one that I was really looking forward to, and then the others just haven't rated that highly. They've been quite like middle of the road. There's not been all that much that's truly blown my mind this December, but we will get into it. So my first book for December was one that I was really looking forward to. When I first saw it, I was like, that's a little bit of me, I'm going to really enjoy this book. And it was Look Up Handsome. I ended up giving it a 3, so you can see already where this month is going to go, where this reading wrap up is heading. So it was a 3 for Look Up Handsome. I found it overall quite underwhelming. I don't want to be too negative because I know it's a debut novel, but there were parts of the book that just didn't really work for me. Some bits felt quite rushed, then other bits that didn't need as much time taken on them were like quite detailed. I didn't particularly like one of the main characters all that much. It just, I don't want to give too much away about it, but it didn't really fit with the cute cozy vibes because he was already in a relationship when he was contemplating entering a new one, and that just, it didn't sit right with me, that little feature of it. So yeah, it was a little bit disappointing overall, so I gave it a 3. My next book was The Arctic Fox, and yes, it was a children's book. I tend to read quite a few children's books in December usually, and I quite like the Holly Webb ones. Like, you know what you're getting, you know it's going to be really simplistic. They all tend to follow a very similar storyline, just with a different animal. But there's no brain power required, and sometimes that is very much needed in December. So I gave The Arctic Fox 3.5 stars. Yeah, it was exactly what I expected it to be. It was fun, it was cute, it was enjoyable, didn't have to think about it, nothing intense going on, just a nice little cozy read for a December day. Then the next one, I have a reading vlog for this book, and if you've watched the reading vlog you will know how disappointed I was, but it was The Christmas Tree Farm, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. Which broke my heart a little bit to do. I will leave the reading vlog link below if you want to go and watch it, but if you have seen my other videos then you will be well aware of how much I love the Dream Harbour series by Laurie Gilmore, and I never thought they would be my kind of books. I initially bought the Pumpkin Spice Cafe for its cute autumnal cover, and then I read the book and my whole life changed. They're not the best written novels, they're not great works of literature, but you don't go into them thinking that that's what you're getting. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe was so much fun to read. The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore was so much fun to read and very spicy. And then The Christmas Tree Farm, for me, just, it missed the mark. Like, I had so many issues with the book that I'll be honest, my 3-star rating is probably quite generous given my actual feelings on the novel, and I feel like I only rated it that because it's part of the Dream Harbour series. I didn't have that much fun reading it. The romance cute aspect of it didn't really work for me, but the spice, what little of it there was, also didn't really work. It just felt like a really confusing mashup of things that didn't fit together, and I did not like Kira, which, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't particularly like Bennett either, so there was my main issue, in that I couldn't really get on board with the main characters. But yeah, I've read it now. Hopefully next year's 2025's offerings for the Dream Harbour series are much better. Then my next book was A Christmas Carol, because as I've already said, I like to reread A Christmas Carol. I am pretty sure that this year was my 14th reread of the book. I have 2 copies of the book, but there is one that I always read, and it's just such a nostalgic read for me. The copy that I read the most is a copy that I've had since I was a very, very young child. I believe that I've had it since it was first published, which will mean it has been with me since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So yeah, it's quite an old book now, and I just love the story. It's definitely one of my all-time favourite books, and I just have to read it, even though I know it like word for word now. I have to read it every Christmas. I finished it in one night because it's not a long book anyway, but as I said, because I've read it so much, I tend to get through it quite quickly now. But yeah, I just love it. I've no complaints, 5 stars every single time. So then, after A Christmas Carol, things picked up a little bit for the last few books of the month, and I read The Comfort Food Cafe, and I gave this 4 stars. Just for reference, The Comfort Food Cafe is an entire series of books. However, very confusingly, this is the most recent book, and it can be read as a standalone novel, and it is called The Comfort Food Cafe, which is the same title as the entire series of books. So yeah, you don't need to have read the Comfort Food Cafe series to read this book. I haven't read any of the other books, and I perfectly understood what was going on in this. It's not overly festive until towards the end of the book. However, it is just a really nice, feel-good, heartwarming story. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I feel like it was very much needed after the disappointment at the start of the month with the other books. Highly, highly recommend it. And then my final book for December was Can I Tell You Something? So I read this like, I think I started at Christmas Eve. This book, I honestly don't even know what to say about it. It was absolutely fantastic. It's a spicy romance book, and it is very spicy. It's, the best way to describe it is festive filth. Like, it's just so good though. Like, it does have an actual storyline. The actual storyline is very good. It's very cute. It's got the perfect setting for Christmas. I loved the characters, and the spice was perfection. As someone who has not really read spicy books until this year, my introduction to spice, just for reference, has been the Dream Harbour series. This was a whole other level to the Dream Harbour series. It really was filthy, but it was so good. Highly recommend it. There is a second book to this that I will be reading next Christmas, and I am already very much looking forward to it. Brief little interlude before we get to the end of the video. You may notice that I look a little bit different from the rest of the video, and that is because I completely missed a book out of this reading wrap up. I am actually currently filming in December still, so I currently have a book that I'm reading. I know I will finish by the end of December, but I haven't finished it yet, which is why I ended up missing it out of the reading wrap up. So I did say I'd read 7 books, and then I missed the 7th book out. So I am currently reading Grim Curiosities, and I know that this will get done by the end of December, which is why it is included in this wrap up. I am about halfway through the book, and if I was to guess, obviously I can't give it a star rating because I haven't finished, but if I was to guess, this is probably going to sit somewhere around the 3.75, 4 stars. It's a really, really good book, and it's not one that I'd ever heard of until an advert popped up on my Kindle for it. But it's about York, and it's set in the Victorian period, and it's really wintry, a little bit ghostly. It's just absolutely brilliant for this time of year, and I am really, really enjoying it. So that is my 7th book. That is the reading wrap up, and now we will get back to the end of the video. So yeah, they were my books for December. It was definitely a month of two halves, some very disappointing books, my favourite book ever with The Christmas Carol, and then things picked up. So yeah, it's like I say, overall it was a little bit disappointing for the festive reads, but it is what it is. I read 7 books, I'm quite happy with that, and yeah, we are into a whole new year now, and like I say, it will be my first year of doing reading wrap-ups every single month, seeing as I have only been on BookTube since October, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this year brings with BookTube and what books I read, and I'm just very excited. Let me know what your favourite book of December was, and I will see you guys next time.